Israel had said it wanted to control the way aid got to Palestinians in Gaza from hubs like this one in the far south. Day one of that plan didn't survive contact with reality. The reality of a population Israel had denied aid since the start of March. Initially, there'd been reluctance to come here. The process included biometric measurement. Hamas had urged resistance against what it called an Israeli intelligence operation. Israel has denied that, and in any case, soon enough, any idea of control was evaporating.
People stormed the place and stole everything. The Americans started shooting, then the Israelis. More than 20 injured. And then a tank climbed the hill and started shooting.
Each box is supposed to contain enough for nearly 60 meals, prompting some disbelief today. This man carrying the contents in his T-shirt after his box broke.
I saw people running there. I decided to go too. People said it was scary. I didn't care. It was dangerous or not. I was going to go. I want to feed my children.
Earlier today, the Israeli military proudly displayed the operation on social media, prepared and ready, so they said, to deliver aid. The plan had been for nominated family representatives to collect food from the US and Israeli-backed, Swiss-based Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The army said it would stop Hamas looting the aid, something aid agencies said was not happening at any scale to begin with.
We're standing here in this logistical area that the IDF built and will be run by a third party that will give the people of Gaza the aid directly. Every day, thousands of Gazans will be able to come here, reach this third party, and get the aid directly.
For weeks, that idea had been heavily criticized by the UN and other aid agencies as unworkable and politicized. The location of the 4 hubs established so far, 3 in the far south, 1 in the middle of the territory, also decried for enforcing further displacement. The UN's aid chief, Tom Fletcher, said it would see starvation used as a bargaining chip.
You starve people for over 2 months now, and then you allow a trickle of aid, a trickle of food in, and you ask them to go to Rafah, where people have to walk for miles and miles in order to get a food parcel. Is this a viable solution? This is a humiliation.
On Sunday, the executive director of Gaza Humanitarian Foundation resigned, saying it wouldn't be able to adhere to principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality and independence. And while established aid mechanisms operate at restricted levels, everywhere evidence of the need for them.
Even when they bring aid, nothing reaches us. As you can see, we're here like stray dogs collecting food from the trash. I swear, this is our life day to day. We collect food every day from the garbage. If we don't gather anything, then we don't eat.
The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation blamed Hamas blockages and the volume of people for the chaos today, saying it had distributed 8,000 boxes and would be open again tomorrow. A UN spokesman called the images heartbreaking, saying it had a detailed, operationally sound aid plan ready to supply a desperate population.
Harry Fawcett reporting there. Well, Sam Rose works for the UN Relief and Works Agency, where he's the director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza, and he joins us now live from Oxford. Sam Rose, I mean, absolutely desperate scenes coming out of Gaza again today, at a time when there should be at least some good news with food getting in. What's gone wrong here?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, this is so distressing. I mean, we've seen distressing and heartbreaking scenes for the past 20 months, and this tops many of those. What's gone wrong? Everything has gone wrong. It gives me no pleasure to say that, but everything we said about why this mechanism would not work and should not be put in place, we've witnessed today. The complete humiliation and dehumanization of a hungry, scared, injured, exhausted population, the corralling of humans into what can only be described as castle pens in Rafah, massive overcrowding, no supply to meet the demand, no proper distribution networks. It's harrowing and it's heartbreaking, and it was completely avoidable, and it is completely avoidable if we're allowed to do our work.
I mean, is it possible that this just is an illustration of people who are starving? You say, you know, the supply didn't meet demand. perhaps over the next few days and weeks it will, because many people would say it doesn't matter where the aid comes from, who delivers it, as long as it gets in there.
Well, the United Nations showed during the ceasefire that we have the ability to deliver aid safely, at scale, to reach people where they are. This is not what happened today, and it's not what will happen over the course of the 3 weeks for a modality such as this, whereas people are forced to go to certain locations to pick up a box of poultry food items. Yes, they need food, but they do not need food to be distributed in this way. How are the sick, the elderly, the wounded, the infirm supposed to make their ways to these aid centres? How are these people supposed to get the services that they need to go alongside this food? We have tens of thousands, over 100,000 people have been injured in this conflict. How are they supposed to get the food and get the service that we need? And we have no time to wait. The population is on the verge of famine, on the verge of starvation. In UNRWA, my organisation, we have the largest uninterrupted UN food operation anywhere on the planet that has functioned successfully for 75 years uninterrupted. We, the World Food Programme and others, we have the supplies on the border kilometres away. And let us get them in and let us distribute to people where they are.
You will be familiar with the argument from the Israeli government, which said a new system of delivering aid was needed because they, as they have consistently claimed, Hammash are stealing the aid. What's your response to that?
The response is we've seen no evidence of this. Neither myself, my 12,000 staff, the entire humanitarian community in Gaza, none of us have seen any evidence of this. We have absolutely nothing to hide. We ask repeatedly for this evidence. Our programs, our distribution mechanisms have been assessed and evaluated independently over decades, and there's been no evidence for any of this. Show us the evidence and let the journalists in. If the United Nations are constantly decried, constantly criticised for what we're saying, then let international press into Gaza to see the situation for themselves. Okay. That's what I would say.
Briefly, if you would, you know that the man who headed up this group has now resigned after just 2 months. He says the foundation cannot adhere to the humanitarian principles of humanity and neutrality. What happens now in terms of getting aid in? Should the foundation keep going in tandem with the work that you're doing?
I mean, we've seen what happens if it keeps going. Just by calling something humanitarian does not make it humanitarian. I applaud the CEO of the Gaza Humanitarian, so-called Humanitarian Foundation for standing down and listening to the concerns and the issues that we had raised. We don't need these two systems to work in parallel. We need the aid that is on the border, the several thousand trucks of aid that is on the border. And I'll be accused of being a liar for saying that, I'm sure, but it is there. Believe me, we need to be allowed to get that in. In 4 days during the ceasefire, my organisation, UNRWA, we distributed food to 1 million people. That's what's needed for these people who are facing famine and starvation.
Sam Rowe's going to have to end it there, but thank you very much for speaking to us.